BlackRam313, also known as BlackRam for Vengeance, also known as BlackRam the Hebrew. This video is entitled, What Will She Do? Part 2. I'm going to start out by saying that the reason why I'm doing this video is because this shit is therapeutic, man. And speaking of therapy, it's 10% what I'm saying to this camera and that you're listening to, but it's 90% of the feedback that I receive in the comment sections from many brilliant men, the most intelligent men I've ever encountered in my life.
Football food is cheesesteaks, wings, and fries. Charlie's has football food. When you want football food.
Speaking volumes of wisdom, saying much more than I could ever say. And I try my best to comment on every one of your comments, or to at least say thank you. Because I am grateful that you have taken time to listen to me and give me feedback. So I try to acknowledge everyone. And if I do not acknowledge you, more than likely it's because YouTube won't allow me because certain little, technical difficulties. So every time I get a notification that someone has responded or posted a comment, I will always do my best to try to answer you or to thank you. Anyway, on with the video. I have a few notes here because I don't want to forget stuff. I'm getting old. I'm not a young man anymore. I'm speeding fast to age 40. I'm knocking on the door of it. I'll be there in a couple of years. So I got a couple of notes, so if you hear some papers rumbling, forgive me and excuse me. Now, here we go. What will women do when the economic collapse occurs? What will women do in a World War III scenario? What will women do during major geological changes that would affect life on Earth? What will she do? What will this strong, independent black woman who don't need no man, what will she do? That white female feminist who's empowered, the female that's the boss, doing it all alone, so she thinks. Those who depend on the government, social and political and power structure for their empowerment, which is the female. What will she do? What will be her response? So let's take a look at female nature in and of itself and view her behavior at this time and try to predict her actions in the future within a situation such as an economic collapse, primarily. Your average female has a degree in liberal arts. She has a degree in some type of psychology or social work. She's not into the STEM fields as much. Not only does she not have the capacity, but she doesn't have the desire. Doesn't have the desire to build science, technology, and engineering, robotics, biochemistry, physics, you name it. It's not her area of interest because it's not in a female's nature to want to build society or be partaker in it. Her nature is to benefit from the building and structure of society, not to create it. Even if you have a woman that's a lawyer or a medical doctor, what will she do in the economic collapse? What will you do, oh woman, with your psych degree, with your sociology degree? What will you do as a medical doctor in the collapse? Now, some may think, hey, a medical doctor will be viable because they can provide help and treatment and assistance in emergency situations. But oh no. Let's think about that for a short moment. The medical industry, all they do is diagnose and prescribe medication. That's it. Other than your local pharmacy being open, a society running on its own or within the framework or within the structure or the power that source it is hooked up to, without a functioning society, your medical doctor is inadequate, inept, and useless. The only type of doctor that would be of any benefit would be a naturopathic or holistic doctor. Someone that knows how to treat wounds with natural antibiotics, or to treat illnesses with natural antibiotics, who can manipulate and make herbs for healing. But your average medical doctor wouldn't know what to do in a situation like that.
Hello there, everyone. It's Sage Robbins.
Tony Robbins.
This big guy.
And some of them aren't even familiar with basic ways to treat a trauma without a hospital room. So your female doctors, your female lawyers, and men for that matter, they will all be useless and worthless. You cannot eat, you cannot build with a liberal arts degree, an applied science degree. When a society collapsed and it has to be rebuilt, your degree, your master's, your doctorate, your bachelor is non-existent. Who will be worth their weight in gold are your skilled laborers. In order to rebuild society or even maintain your own integrity and structure during a collapse scenario, all you need is 3 good men with a skill set. A mechanic to repair your car, keep it running, or to repair a generator. Someone who knows how to work with small engines. It's a YouTuber and commenter named Tony Broom. He's a mechanic. And I'll try to remember to leave a link in the description box of his video and his channel. Or a guy like Vincent One Migto, who is also a mechanic. You would need somebody who is familiar with electricity, an electech, and mechanics can do that as well. You would need a carpenter, someone that can build a house and is familiar with woodworking. And you would probably need also a metal worker. And a man can have more than one skill set. This, along with knowing how to farm and garden and protect yourself with a rifle. These people are greater than your doctors and lawyers. These people are greater than your politicians. These are the ones who build. This is the foundation of all society. Skilled laborers. And how many women are skilled laborers? Very, very few. If you put women together and put them on an island, they will perish. Even with all the resources and raw materials there. their little world would fold like a scroll. See, it's men who build, it's men who protect, it's men who provide. Women, during that time of collapse, you will lose all of your government protection, all of your government provision, all of your government assistance. There will be no 911 to call. The state will be weakened and unable to protect you and to play your husband in the role of a father. The state in which you love and benefit from, who's promoted you. In the United States of America, the female is put ahead of the male. Well, that will be no longer at the fall of America, which is coming soon. And women, you will be left completely at the mercy and generosity of a man. You will be completely dependent on the male existence for your very own. 100%. It is at that time, which is close and I believe it's near, that we will see the inherent weakness and inferiority of the female, because she is delusional. She thinks she's strong and independent. She thinks that she can compete with a man. She thinks that she can be a man. Her pride and arrogance will fall. You're going to eat those words, woman. I don't need a man. And you're so strong and so arrogant and so narcissistic and so rebellious because America allows you to be that. And that's why you love this system. It's designed to promote you. But that day is coming to an end. Women are always telling men what they ain't gonna do or what they would do, or telling a man what he should be doing or what he shouldn't be doing. I come to realize most women are bossy.
Were you recently injured in a car accident? Look at this check for $160,000.
Especially when it comes to sex and dating. She want to be the boss. She want to boss up in that relationship and be the leader and be the head. But in that day, you won't be able to even lift your head without the assistance of a man. Book of Isaiah, so-called Old Testament scriptures, the ancient holy scriptures. Book of Isaiah chapter 4 verse 1 reads, "And in that day 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread, wear our own apparel, only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach." Biblical prophecy, which I think will soon come to pass. In today's society, a woman saying she ain't gonna share no man. That she wants a man to be her possession. But in that day, she will beg to be a part of whatever you have going. The men who are prepared, the men who are wise, the men who know what's coming and going on. She will beg you, and she wouldn't care in that day how many women you have. That's how much her pride would be broken. Her arrogance. Because she's going to need you. She's going to desire you in that day. She's going to want you in that day. She's going to view you as the prize that you are in that day. A man in that time will be more precious than gold. Because he is resourceful. And through him she lives or dies. When you think of the female, she is so naive, so brainwashed, so easily misled and deceived. The average female gets all her information from social and mainstream media. She has no clue on what's going on around her. She can't see the world falling apart because she's too busy enjoying it and looking inward at herself. Too busy in her own narcissism, too busy enjoying all that America has to provide for her. Too busy in enjoying the liberty of being a slut and a consumer and a narcissist. Too busy. She doesn't have the wisdom, the objectivity, the foresight to prepare for what's coming. So she will suffer greatly, alongside with her simp boyfriend, who is equally as useless because he thinks just like a woman. Talking about his gym shoe game and promoting women to put him on a pedestal. He'll be looking for her. The simp will be looking for the woman to take care of him in that day. She is his queen and his god. Call on your god in that day when food is scarce. Call on your female goddess that day. Look to that woman to save you, simp, in that day. So we will see. In the economic collapse, that female can't field dress a deer. She can't purify water. She can't provide a heat source or security. It's not in her nature. It's not in her capacity. It's not in her being. You'll only find a handful of female preppers on YouTube and maybe a handful of female preppers in real life. Only a handful, small minority. And they're the exception, not the rule. The United States of America is about to experience its fall. The economic collapse will be the single largest event in modern human history. The economic collapse of America will have global implications as the nation's economy, the economies all around the world, governments all around the world are dependent on the dollar. The petrodollar, as oil and energy, is pegged to the United States currency. And when it falls, it will take the other currencies of the world with it. This global impact will be felt on every corner of the earth, particularly in the larger so-called industrialized nations. The trigger event for this could be simply the nations of the world losing confidence in the United States dollar. This fiat currency that's drowned in debt, and more debt. 18 trillion on the books, America's debt, but actually 200 trillion in actuality when you look at all of the unfunded liabilities and other debts that's owed. So your precious country is in bad shape. So walk with me for a moment. And let's take a look, or should I say, thoughts on what could occur. So you wake up one morning. and you turn on the news.
How many subscriptions are you paying for? Rocket Money finds sneaky or forgotten subscriptions and makes...
And you find out that the United States of America and the dollar itself is losing value around the world. As nations like China and Russia and other nations decide that they no longer want to trade and, more importantly, buy up United States Treasury notes, which is actually buying the debt of the buying American debt. They decide that they can no longer afford to peg their economy to the US dollar, no longer afford to buy US Treasuries, no longer afford to trade in US dollars. And as a consequence, the United States goes to its old tricks of quantitative easing, which is just flooding the market with dollars. Print more money. Their only solution. Federal Reserve Chairman dials up and say, print, print, and print away. There's an emergency meeting. United States President meets with the Federal Reserve Chairman, and they tell the Americans that everything is going to be okay, that we will recover, we will survive, we will rebound. Typical political talk. But the problem is that printing more money leads to hyperinflation. Well, what does hyperinflation look like? As you flood the economy with US dollars, they become worthless. Supply and demand. More dollars on the market, print more money. The more you have of it, the less value it is. This sends prices skyrocketing. As a result of this, stock markets around the world begin to plunge 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%, 10%, and then go into a free fall. The United States, the Chinese, the Japanese markets crash completely. Biggest in history. All in 1 hour. Gold and silver skyrockets. Gold goes from 1,300 to 1,800 to 2,000 to 4,000 to 5,000. The value of silver doubles and triples, quadruples within days and weeks. Press conference after press conference, news story after news story, documenting this scenario. Worse than Lehman Brothers, worse than 2007. So how would this affect you? You look up a couple of days after the market crashes. Few days, few weeks. You go to buy some gas. It's $4 one day. $6 another day. $8 another day. $11.47. You go to buy a gallon of milk. $14.27. You go and buy a loaf of bread. $16.87. Companies lose money as diesel fuel prices skyrocket. The trucking industry folds. Deliveries slow down. Government services, because of the collapse, are limited more and more each day and each week. Government assistance programs, Medicare and Medicaid, can't pay out. Food stamps are no longer being issued. I don't think they call them food stamps now. I don't know what they call them in your state. But the government food program comes to a screeching halt and dead end. Government workers are not getting paid, so they stop. You can't get your garbage picked up. And other vital services, police and fire, those services become limited. Now the riots begin. Now your local grocery store is ransacked. Department stores, shelves are empty. Grocery stores, shelves are empty. The few that decide to drive their trucks to restock these places are being hijacked. The whole trucking industry shuts down. No more just-in-time deliveries for your local grocery store. Martial law is declared, but limited, because there's about 400 million people in the United States of America without vital services and access to food. And in certain areas, the water services become limited. And in one area it stops. Another area is limited. All these vital services begin to wane.
Do mushrooms freak you out? These won't. But it's no wonder.
No help is coming. This goes on 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Now true desperation sets in. There are no gas stations. You can't go to the store. You have nothing to eat. Your cabinets, your refrigerator is empty. Starvation sets in. Roving gangs of armed men begin to encircle neighborhoods in search of those who may have some sustenance to survive off of, and they plan to take it from you. In this situation, only the strong survives. And what can a woman do but scream and cry in a situation like this? A time like never before. A time of intense pain and tragedy. The death toll skyrockets. Population of the United States dwindles. In 60 days, you have a population reduction of about 10%. In 90 days, another 14-15%. 6 months, skyrockets. The death toll, the population decrease is at about 30%. And continuing and increasing. Now, those at the sound of my voice, you've prepped. you have used and applied the wisdom that you have. Because I'm sure many of us, or even at least the majority of us, who would listen to an Ibmore video, a MGTOW video, a Red Pill video, if you're listening to the Hebrew Israelites that are out there telling you about the fall of America and the coming famine and destruction in World War III, surely you've been hearing these things. Surely you know what a prepper is. Surely you have your stock of canned goods and water purification and your hunting rifle and your handgun. Surely you have these things. So you're ready and you're surviving. Now I have a question. I don't want to make this video too much longer. So I have a question. We know all the woman can do in a situation like this is scream and cry and hurt and beg. We know this. So the greater question is not what will she do? Because we know she can't do a damn thing. The better question is, the greater question is, what will you do for her? Knowing what we know about Briffault's law in female nature, knowing that a woman can't love you in the same way that a man loves, knowing that her relationship with you is based on a set of conditions, the condition of I'll be with you as long as you are responding, I'll be with you as long as you are upholding. I'll be with you as long as you are catering to her financial, mental, and emotional needs. As long as you're not with or have slept with another woman, she'll be with you. All these conditions. But in this situation, she won't care about any of those. She will want the rumbling in her stomach, the pain of not eating and not drinking. She will want that to cease, and she will look to you to provide that. What will you do? I'm not talking about just a random woman. That's a question too. But your wife, your girlfriend, your ex. The woman that has told you that if you don't worship her and don't pedestalize her, that she will take her love from you. She'll take your children away. And try her best to take your resources away. What would you do for her? Knowing that in this day and time, that she will leave you for any mishap. Knowing that she will leave you for any reason that has to do with her not feeling her needs and desires are being met. That's the question. And I'm going to answer it for you.
I have a prediction for you for your net worth, your assets. 2023 is going to be a very, very bad year for a lot of people.
This creature who is only self-serving, this creature with the mentality of a child in whom cannot take care of itself, a child in whom only understands receiving food, clothing, and shelter and affection. A child, a 2-year-old, who doesn't know how to give anything but only to receive. That's the female mind. Now, she is an adult. She can push past her own nature and see greater to a degree. We know this is limited. But this selfish, narcissistic creature who acts like a 2-year-old who doesn't care about you, who doesn't care about who you are, can't know what it means to love, what will you do with her when her very existence now is dependent on everything that you do? And what you will do is this: you will take care of her. Not just because of male nature and the desire for female validation, the desire for companionship, the desire for love and sex. You know why you will take care of her? Because you have a quality that she can't possess in truth and sincerity. That quality is love. The act of being humane. She does not possess that. Would you expect a child to jump in front of a bullet for you? No. The female is a perpetual child who cannot understand self-sacrifice. Even when you look at how a woman is with her children, she will use them as a means to an end to deceive, to manipulate. That same child she would abort. She doesn't possess real love. She doesn't understand and can't fathom self-sacrifice. But men, that's who you are. This is why I'm making this video. To prove to you that a man has a soul, and a warm one, that we will provide and we will protect with our own lives. A creature, a being who is so unworthy, who can never understand your level of sacrifice, who can never understand the depth of your love for her. A creature who all you do is give and you can get nothing back. And men, do we really expect a lot from women? No. They expect everything from us, but they're willing to give next to nothing. They think their emotions and their vagina is enough. And guess what? For us it is. Because we want to love them. We want to take care of them. We don't want to see them suffer. This is the essence of man. To protect those in whom you love. You are a higher form of being than she is. You have the capacity to love without ever expecting anything back. You have the capacity to take everything you are, your complete essence, and pour it into her. You have the capacity to forgive. You have the capacity to walk through the valley of death for her. She would never understand that, never appreciate that, never see that. For love truly only exists in the hearts of men. And it is God's gift to us. And it's only something that a woman can receive, but in 1,000 lifetimes will not be able to truly give. So that's the point of this long video. In the end of the chapters, the end of the so-called hypothetical book of what will she do. She will cry and beg. She will whine she would bend her knee, and you would forgive her of all her ills. You would look past all her faults, and you would pull her up out of the ashes. Just a thought. Thanks for listening and allowing me to share. This is Black Ram.